little bit of controversy. Tom Vialle was docked in Moto 1, went off the track, missed some rollers, jumped back on, and was docked one spot. And then
did they do that after the first moto?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he knew that going in. And then Hayden went off the track in Moto 1, and then he went off the track in Moto 2 as well. There was we didn't know.
In the same place, right?
No, different places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were waiting to see what was going to happen. There was a press conference. There was no press conference because they were waiting to see what was going to do. It went on way too long. Finally, they said, all right, we're doing a press conference, even though we didn't know who'd won yet. And AMA came out and said that Hayden was not going to be docked. Now, I did talk to the AMA today a little bit about that. We'll talk to Andrew Short later on about this because Shorty was involved in the meeting about it. But so they both went off the track. From what they have on video, Vialle gained time and then also didn't really give much regard into jumping back onto the track, which is true. He went and he just kind of hit the roller and doubled in. They didn't feel like he showed any caution coming onto the track. Hayden lost time by their video standards when he went out, swung out wide, and then they felt like Hayden looked over, saw something, made sure it was clear, and then went. So after
there wasn't as many people around Hayden there was Tom, right?
No, there was just one. Hayden was the only guy by Tom. But they felt like, and this is from the AMA, they felt like Hayden took more caution in coming on than Tom, and he lost time and Tom gained time. So that was their rationale.
That's pretty weak. That's their rationale. But
if you accelerate off the track, that usually they say that, right? Deegan.
A gross acceleration like what we've seen Jason Anderson do.
Right. Yeah.
They both kind of accelerated because I mean you don't how hard or how much. Who knows? I mean some of those Jason Anderson penalties in the past have been like he's gaining speed. Right. Yeah. But Marks, what do you were heated about this a little bit?
I just didn't think the explanation was very rational, when they were saying Vialle lost time, Deegan gained time, but they've never really used that as a rationale for their penalties before. It's always been like,
does he have that backwards?
Do you see roost?
The roost thing isn't a thing outside of obviously gaining time. Yeah.
I'm just saying I feel like they've kind of used that before. Like you can see Deegan drifting, like his bike is drifting off the track because his back end is spinning so hard. Like I don't understand how you can say he wasn't accelerating.
I think
were they on the stopwatch when they went off slow-mo?
No, they have this footage from drones and from cameras marked with timestamps that they can look at.
Gotcha.
So Vialle gained point whatever. They said Hayden lost time.
But are they saying Vialle gained because he went off track? Like, what if he went through that sector faster? Like,
no, from where he went off to from the lap before in that same section.
I mean, by how much?
I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll ask Andrew Short.
Yeah.
My thing is, if you go off track, you shouldn't be able to come back on even. It should be a penalty. If you go off track, you should have to you should lose time.
They said Hayden lost time.
But how much? I mean, if you come back within a second or two, I mean, that's not really a penalty.
I think if you don't pass anybody and you're in the same position, you should be fine.
This is all. If you pass people, then for sure shit goes sideways.
Yeah.
But he also did it twice.
Yeah, but the other time he lost time too.
Yeah. But this is the thing with the lost time.
The first one for sure he lost time. He was he lost a second. I bet you there.
Like you can lose time. What if you go off? You do a circle because you went off and did whatever. Now you've lost time, but what if you just pin it all the way to get back on the track from that point? You could still lose time, so you can't really use that as the reasoning for it's okay.
Well, two things though. Vialle gained time and didn't show regard in jumping onto the track.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Where are you at with this, Steve?
I thought Hayden should have been docked. Right. But honestly, when you talk to the AMA, which is what I did, you see their side. It's not like the finish line flag or the Red Cross flag and the finish line in St. Louis was a bad call, I thought.
Yeah, for sure.
And I didn't like their explanation for it or anything. I see both sides on this one, and I'm fine with them not docking Hayden. But I think he should have been docked, yes.
Yeah,
because, again, even though we lost time, I didn't see any Hayden taking any care to come on like they thought he did. They said his head went over a little, and I'm like, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
Just brought somebody, when I started hearing AMA and Deegan, just fucking flashbacks, dude.
Yeah.
Deegan didn't get penalized when he pulled over and his bike blew up and he did a beer bong and got back on the track. He didn't get when he.
Well,
we've had so many run-ins with the AMA and Brian Deegan's fucking classic.
And then like this is what people got to remember too is like Chad Reed's Black Flag was another guy, another person than what's doing it now. So you can't go back and be like, hey, in '97 Deegan cut Bud's Creek, and this is what happened. That's apples to oranges.
Yeah,
we got different people in charge. We got different technology.
Yeah.
So as much as we'd like to say that, and people like to bring that up,
AMA, it's the AMA.
Yeah, it's
people
not.
Don't get it.
And Mike Pelletier's doing a good work. He's trying hard to make it right. I don't necessarily agree with this call, but I understand what they came from.
Yeah, their hands are. It's a tough
Vialle,
position they're in.
They didn't like Vialle going right off the track and not even looking and going, you're out, doubling back on. Like, that's unsafe in their eyes.
So who is this under protest or anything?
No, that's
KTM just like whatever?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, well, more Mitch Payton and Pro Circuit that were the second moto, because that would have given Levi the overall. If you dock Hayden one position, Levi wins, and Levi goes 2-1 for the overall. Ooh. And $30,000 difference in paychecks for Levi too.
Yeah.
So so that's the story we got with that. We'll talk to Shorty about it a little bit. We do have a Michael on line 1 that wants to talk to you, Kenny. Go ahead, Michael.
Am I on?
You're on.
Okay, long-time listener, first-time caller. Just had to say it because Kenny Watson is in. He is a parental role model. Okay. I have 2 questions, and I'm going to hang up and listen.
All right.
What is his favorite song by the Smiths, and why is a girlfriend in a coma? Have a fun night, boys.
Thank you. That gentleman sounds familiar. Smith song.
Girlfriend in a coma.
Yeah. Is that your favorite Smith song?
Yeah, it's my favorite song. He knows that. That's why he said that.
Do you have a reason why?
Panic on the streets of Illinois.
I don't know, man.
You don't know that one?
Smiths. I'm out on Smiths. I went to a Morrissey concert once. He walked off. Right.
Did you fall asleep?
No, but he walked off.
Who'd you go with? Jay? Indy?
No, I didn't go with Gothic. No, I don't know who I went with.
Thanks for calling, Michael.
By the way, Kenny Watson brought to you by Decal Works. Please check out PulpMX24. It's the code to save at decalmx.com. Great guys, and they sponsor the Red Bull KTM team, speaking of Vialle. And, use the code SAVE. Great guys, great company. They'll give you a proof beforehand. And PulpMX24 is the code to save at decalmx.com.
Hey, I got a question.
Yep.
Andrew Short what's his title?
He's not he's one of a bunch of riders that are rider representatives. They're starting to do this, bringing in riders, ex-riders to work.
What do they do?
Well, you can ask them when we get them on.
Because, I mean, I've always been nice with Andrew, cool with Andrew. I know Jackie. I know him. I've known him. And he wasn't always like the friendliest, cleanest rider with his helmet on.
Well, you can bring that up to him.
And now he's going to be the guy.
I look forward to you talking to him about this.
Oh, yeah. It'll be great.
Ethica, by the way, too. PulpMX20 code to save it. Ethica. Love these guys. Since the inception of the brand, Ethica and his team have been determined to live life, innovate, and work hard while staying true to the biggest asset, the family. Quality products, premium brand experience, authentically connect to a broad group of consumers. Thank you to Ethica. Okay.
Wait, I didn't know you were going to do a commercial read right in the middle of my question.
What was your question?
See, you're out to lunch
with
already.
Shorty?
Fucker.
I'm letting you ask Shorty. You can ask Shorty. Hey, man.
I'm asking your opinion,
dude.
You
were really pretty fucking dirty, Shorty.
I'm asking your fucking opinion, and you just go, Ethica, the great brand is. I agree with you. They are great underwear, but
I think Shorty can put his racing career aside and look at things pretty neutral and pretty objectively. And he's got a lot of experience. That's somebody that you want for a role. You know who's coming in for Hangtown, I heard? Rider rep? Yogi.
Oh, nice.
Yogi's coming back.
They must be paying.
I think they are. I think they're trying to do the right thing.
I think they're paying. It's about time. They probably make more doing this than they did when they raced.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Take us through it from your point of view from a rider, Shorty, and what you thought of the two sides. Mike gave me, kind of the reasons for that, and I understand them. I don't necessarily totally agree, but he did give me the reasons. What did you see?
Yeah, I think similar to you. I think my gut feeling initially was kind of opposite of what happened. But they have access. They have access to so many different angles that you don't necessarily see on TV, and a lot of useful tools. And for me, just to reference the rule book and to understand where they were coming from, it has to be clear. It can't be a personal decision. And so, for me, strictly after looking at that, reading the rule book, it was clear to me. I know they did. They made the right choices. It can be, twisted either way, and there's so many different opinions and all that stuff. it can go different directions. But I'm determined they made the right decision, and I feel like I can sleep well. And I think those guys get such a bad rap, and then once you understand where they came from, the rule book that the riders are, they're competing with, you have to truly understand that, and it can't be a personal decision, and it has to be consistent. And everybody has to be on a level playing field, and I feel like there's a lot of us versus them in the paddock. There's a lot of animosity. As we both know, Kenny, I've been on the opposite end with you, and so I know that feeling. I know what it's like, but I feel like they think the AMA is after them, and everybody thinks the AMA is after them after what I felt this week. I was like, wow, if they only knew. So, yeah, I think they do a great job. And Tooley's there. Dana was there this weekend. There's a lot of great people and assets that they have, but I didn't understand. In today's day and age, there's a camera everywhere. And they have access to multiple angles, not just the one you're seeing on TV. They can go back. They have access to the timing. So, yeah, I think the intent of the rule is obviously safety. They shouldn't be able to go off track, maintain pace, gain an advantage. It needs to be safe to come back on. Roost isn't in the rule book, especially if you read where the track cuts and unfair advantage.
Yeah, like
nowhere
on and off the throttle and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think this has gotten twisted, and there's a lot of emotion getting involved, but I think Roost is a clear indication of acceleration and gaining an advantage, right? If you don't check up, if you don't look before you get back on the track, I think that's unsafe. And these are things that are mentioned clearly in the rule book. And I think
so even if you look when no one's there and no one's there, and even if you don't glance over, that's fault for a penalty, you think?
Well, if you don't look back, you had clearly accelerated, so you don't have to look back. If you slowed down, you probably are going to look back, right?
Yeah,
I think that's clear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think if you use that logic, you read the rule book, they definitely made the right decision. Like I told you, my gut reaction at first was opposite of kind of what happened, and that's why to me, it's clear they made the right direction. So afterwards, man, it's like you get bombarded. You even go on social media and everywhere.
Well,
or whatever,
it's Deegan too, right? It's the Deegans, so there's lots of people on both sides of that.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really understand that. To me, he's just another rider, and to me, it makes zero difference, And,
right.
But yeah, so if you go off the track, you can't make up time. So, and one thing I've noticed, this sounds crazy, but amateur racing, there's supplemental rules, and incidents like this, I definitely think you have to learn from them. Obviously, they do. They're continuing to evolve, but I definitely think supplemental rules are needed. It needs to be clear language, and the riders need to know what they're dealing with. It can't be an opinion or anything else. And after situations like this, I think you have to refine the rule book. In my personal opinion, this isn't coming from the AMA, but from a rider perspective, if I was racing, for 10 more races, these outdoors for the rest of the year, I want to know what's acceptable and what's not. And the rule book, to me, it's clear with the decisions, but it could be more refined, in my opinion. So,
do you think if you polled all 40 guys on that gate, how many of them have read that rule book and know the rules?
Oh, yeah.
I think that is probably the biggest problem. They don't want to read it and learn about it, but then when something comes up, they want to argue it when they don't even know what they're arguing about.
Yeah, I was amazed, even with the leadership with some of the teams, how little they knew about the rule book and just the respect. And there's a lot of emotion involved, and it's hard for me from the outside hopping in to see racing at the highest level and people that have had so much success, and how they've had repeated. They're great at what they do, but it kind of surprised me.
Yeah, you're like, wait, what? Yeah.
And to be truthful, I don't know that rule. Like, I don't have it memorized, so obviously I had to sit there and go through it and watch the tape and watch as they discussed it. The people that were in charge of this, and I was one of those people, so I wanted to make a decision that was based on the rule book. I think that's fair, and that's the only way to do it. And so, yeah, it's definitely crazy. This is not what I wanted to be doing when you're a rider
Shorty's
representative.
like, God damn, yeah.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm not coming next week.
yeah, Shorty's out.
Well, no. Yeah, I want to be a dad, and I want to go ride, and I want to have fun, and all those things. But at the same time, you have to give back. You have to have leadership. If that's what it takes to help with rider safety and have a voice for those guys and to help them, then I guess that's part of it, whatever. But it's not something I want to do for 30 weekends a year. But I definitely think that I've gained a lot of knowledge. They do a lot of great things. I have a lot of respect for Tool Time now. Mm-hmm. I never really knew him. I just competed with him. And, once you get to know somebody and you're in a situation like that, I definitely gained respect for him and Mike. And
don't let him fool you, dude. Don't let Tooley fool you. He comes from the great roots of LHCR. Ask Tooley about when he used to be the flagger at LHCR. He used to wave the checker flag for old Kenny Watson in the beginner class, getting last.
Oh, there we go. One thing somebody told me yesterday, it's not a bad idea. You go off the track, you got to take your hand off the throttle, or you just wave your hand up. You just got to take your hand and lift it off for a split second. Not a bad idea.
I can see those guys like in the dead engine starts when they're like holding their hand in their helmet trying to grab the throttle.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
No. Vialle, I thought Vialle was classy, in the press conference. They asked him, they go, well, you're a 2-time champion. How do they do it over there? And he goes, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. It's a rule. It's a rule. He never tried to.
He didn't argue it or nothing.
No, nothing. You know, I thought he was good that way.
Yeah.
Dude, at the end of the day, that guy's pretty classy.
He is.
I hate to say it.
Professional.
Yeah, he's a total professional. And you, Shorty, God damn you. I wanted to argue with you, but I'm agreeing with you, and I think you're doing a good job, bud. I hate to say that. I'm eating crow over here.
Yeah, well, I've been in many situations with you racing where I've been in the wrong, right? And I understand that. But as a rider, you have to have character. I think Vialle, maybe for me, that's a difficult situation because I don't know. To me, my gut feeling initially wasn't right, and then once you read the rules and everything that happened, I think it was appropriate. They made the right decision at the AMA, including me. I feel that way. So,
did you hear what we were talking about before you came on with Tony? We were talking about it a little bit, and I kind of agreed with Tony. He kind of said that he would have just not fined either one of them and came in and gave him a verbal warning.
Me too.
That's what, and that made a lot of sense to me. But what you're saying is about the rule, the way the rule is stated, he did gain, he was faster. And Deegan wasn't. So that's the way the rule is. If you gain a position or gain time, whatever, you're wrong. So that's it. It's black and white.
I had to go through all this. I agree with you. But then if you go to the rule book, which the riders are competing, under these rules, on-track violations and penalty table, it's clear. Yeah. And the reason I go, why is this? This is why I think there needs to be supplemental rules, in my opinion. This is not of the AMA or what. Yeah. Here I am doing one race, and I want to change things. That's probably not the correct or mature thing to do. But it says position gain +1 in the rule book for track cutting and gaining unfair advantage. But, as you know, Steve, now up to 21st gets 1 point, right? Mm-hmm. So 22nd through 40th, if you cut the track, if you just do points, they're not getting points.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why they made this rule the way they did. So I think, in my personal opinion, nobody else's, this needs to be adjusted. I don't think that's fair. But that's the rules in which they're competing with. So that needs to be at a series at this level, at the highest level, it needs to be according to the rule book. Yeah.
Right. Okay, we got some phone calls here.
And you know what? That's when they sign their entries, they sign away their rights. That they're going to obey those rules. So have it.
Well, they don't sign away their rights.
They sign away that they're going to obey the rules.
You
pretty much signed away your life, your first kid.
Wiseco Pistons bringing you Andrew Short here. Pulp24 is the code to save. We got some phone calls here. First up, it's Steve Bauer. What's up, Steve? How are you?